So Jacole.
Who is Jacole?
Jacole. J. Cole surprised us.
Yeah, he did.
On Mike Will made its new album Reset with a single called OFG. And he surprised us with a verse that is really just kind of him flexing his pen, getting his MC goal on. I feel like he's just like kind of talking crap the whole time.
I do too.
And saying whatever the heck he wants to say. And I think that connects to his most recent interview with Nadeska on Apple Music, and sharing all of the story and all of the details about his making of the Fall Off with Nadeska. So we're going to start with kind of talking about some of the bars in OFG, and then kind of segue into talking about the interview and what was impactful about the interview from our point of view.
The first general line in his verse about Lionel Messi being the GOAT and like, how come y'all didn't tell me soccer was lit? Is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Because
shout out Sherrod.
What's funny to me is it made me remember when I fell in love with like soccer and like the intensity of it. Now it's central is what I'm trying to say. Good God, the speech impediments in this episode
are hurting right now.
They are hard. Shout out to Hair Moore. Words are hard. Like, but watching the World Cup is like one of the most electric sport events I think that I have ever watched, and it's a different atmosphere. Like, to see the countries or the world actually all be involved in a sport versus like, not everybody cares about football, basketball, so on and so forth. So it just kind of made this line hit because I can see how it can connect to him in that way. And it's such a small, like, cold observation, but it's one that I find way more relatable than, like loss of virginity.
I think the point that he was making is that, like, why did you pass me a basketball if this existed? Why aren't we going back and making soccer pitches versus just, staying on the basketball? Like, why isn't blackness sort of diversified in the tropes that we lean into, so to speak? And I think that's what he was most curious about in that section.
But it was a perfect setup, because then he goes into like, I didn't really understand why people tried to cancel him for keeping his peace and like being accountable in the sense that it's just like, this ain't gonna be what I thought it was gonna be.
You have to explain more before you
the line is, why they try to cancel a like me. I would think that they could see that my intentions was good, and he's alluding to the beef and showing that his intentions in terms of his relationships with Kendrick Lamar and Drake were good. And it's like, y'all tried to cancel me for pulling out of something that was not going to be a sport. I actually have respect for these people. Like, my career does not go the way that it goes without the two of these people in terms of like shaping the dynamic of that, that three-headed monster that they are. So I just don't necessarily understand it, and I didn't understand it then.
Yeah, he goes on to say, like, it's been a long time since my mentions was good, and I think that just kind of piggybacks off what you said, to say that this was impactful in a way that it is everlasting. People, he said with Nadeska, and I think this is a perfect segue. He said with her that people were like, "You good? You good? You good? You good?" Like, just kind of checking up on him in a time where like he wants to disconnect from the world in order to like get deeper into making this album. And so he said that his album process has been 10 years in the making. And on the way to making his album over 10 years, he made the other albums. He made KOD. He made For Your Eyes Only. He made Forest Hill Drives. Like, so he made all of these things that were important and impactful to him while trying to like extract pieces for the Fall Off.
Yeah. Also, we were correct. We predicted that when Mike Delete Later came out right before the beef, that the fall off was going to be sometime in that quarter. If not for that beef, we would have got the fall off, because he was telling Nadeska like we had got to 8 years, and then all the stuff started happening, and we was already just like ready to put it out, but then the stuff happened. Mm-hmm. So that's what pushed it to 10. I'm glad that we was right. And I mean, Cole is very transparent with his creation process and the documentation of it. So it wasn't like it was hard to sniff out, but I feel kind of vindicated about the fact that I was like, that wouldn't make sense for you to drop it now, because it's going to get sheltered if you don't say something about the beef. It was able to exist on its own and kind of solidify itself even more as an emerging classic because of that.
There's also another line. Will you pause just a second? Will you read this couplet here?
This one?
Put right back on.
Oh, yeah. Put me right back on that list that had Pac and Biggie, Bob Marley, Snoop Dogg, and the Lox, and niggas like that who ain't never got props.
Yeah, so he said that his process during making this album was, I didn't want to go listen to all the classic albums that I had been listening to. I don't want to go back and listen to The Reasonable Doubt or It Was Written or, anything that was my favorite. Mm-hmm. I went back and listened to classic hip hop albums that were not notable or not the favorites in order to get the inspiration to make the fall off. And that makes sense, right? So it feels like this entire verse is connected one-to-one almost with that interview that he just did with Nadeska. And so it's the perfect timing. And which means that it just means that it feels like J. Cole is in tune with his situation.
I'm glad not only for that this verse exists, and even the interview where he's talking about that he's still working. He's not going Andre 3000 us. And I love Andre 3000 to death. I really wished he understood how much we appreciate his voice. And understood that there's still a space for you. This thing of thinking you have nothing else to talk about, you do have a lot to talk about. You have experiences and mentorship and things of where you are right now that help the rest of these old folks and people that are, mid, late 30s, early 40s to have something I don't go to the club no more. I mean, Cole said it in the line where he was like, well, I mean, what was I gonna talk about? I don't go out to the club with my folks no more. Mm-hmm. We don't go after nobody. I'm married. I'm chilling at the house.
Yeah.
And that's relatable and understandable. And I can play it in the car and not feel like I'm trying to fantasize my 18 to 21 year old years. Right. I can just kind of enjoy it. So I'm glad that he's continuing to do this music.
Yeah.
With that being said, make sure that you comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for every time we release. We'll see you in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and peace.